Philippines has one of the fastest growing populations in Asia. From having 50 million inhabitants in 1980, the Philippines today is home to around 90 million people, with 11 million living in Manila only. This overcrowding is causing a range of problems such as lack of education, lack of healthcare, unemployment, and general poverty. With every passing second, there are more and more of us. That is why, in this documentary film, we are going to learn the thoughts and insights of our guests as we ask them few questions about this problem in the Philippines.
Okay, let's start. Here is the first question. Is overpopulation a problem in your town or our country?
No, I don't think overpopulation is a problem in our town. And however, I believe there is a possibility of overpopulation in our country, especially at the urban areas herein.
What is your say on the overpopulation in the recent years in the Philippines?
From what I read, the Philippines' current population is around 112 million based on the projections of the latest United Nations data. And right now, it's one of the major concerns of our government. The number one factor of it is unemployment.
I think the lack of information on the benefits of having proper family planning and sex education and poverty are some of the many reasons for this situation.
What do you think is the cause of overpopulation?
Okay, just like I said in the previous questions, the main reasons or causes of population are lack of proper education on family planning and sex education, and mainly, of course, because of extreme poverty. So people especially from the mountainous areas or far-flung areas, when they decide to get married, this is all they ever think of. Well, let's face it, sex. So further, they marry at a very young age, thus having more children when they grow old. And these factors plus the fact that they are not taught on the consequences of marrying young add up to their poverty, then population will boost in just a span of few years.
In what ways can the government minimize overpopulation? Should we implement 2 or 3 child policy just like other countries?
As a religious, I strongly believe on the sanctity of life. It has always been an absolute stand of the Church, and the Pope reaffirms the Church's acceptance of birth control through abstinence from sex during a woman's fertile period. No to abortion, contraceptives, and other means that can affect the existence of life. I hope that the government will be more discerning on promoting contraceptions and other policies that could limit human existence. No to any number of child policy, just like other countries.
No, I don't think we should implement on 2 to 3 child policy. We're not China. And the ways on how can the government minimize overpopulation is to focus on healthcare services and more on spread of information and education on sex and family planning. Secondly, to address the poverty, when corruption will be gone and true public service will be done, the government should focus on creating livelihood for many people in our country so that they can sustain their living for years to come. Lastly, when there is overpopulation, comes the problem of pollution.
Indeed, overpopulation is a major problem in the Philippines. It is first of the most pressing environmental and social issue because overpopulation leads to global warming, pollution, hunger, sixth mass extinction, habitat loss, unemployment, and more. As we move forward, another major issue or problem in the Philippines is the violations against human rights.
Nakita ko po si Papa, may hawak po na ID, tapos pinapakita niya po dun sa may pulis. Tapos habang nakatutok sa ulo niya yung baril.
Sir, kung may kasalanan man po ako o wala, Maawa naman po kayo. Huwag nyo na lang po akong patayin kung gusto nyo. Ikulong nyo na lang po ako. Kasi kawawa yung mga anak ko.
Naisip ko po, sabi ko, sa dami-dami po ng tao dyan sa labas po, bakit po yung papa ko pa yung pinili? Saglit-saglit lang po, tapos pinutukan na po siya.
All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. Human rights describe equal rights and freedom for everybody by the fact of being human and without distinction of any kind of race, color, sex, language, religion, political, or other opinions. However, the human rights situation in the Philippines became an issue in recent years with reports of rising number of victims of extrajudicial killings, disappearances, also problems related to its political, economic, social, and cultural conditions that breed many more human rights. That is why, in this documentary film, we are going to learn the thoughts and insights of our guests as we ask them few questions about this problem in the Philippines.
With the Philippines being a democratic country, what is your say on the current state of our human rights? Is it still being protected?
We have a good number of human rights defenders, but sad to say, our present government abuses its power to protect the people. Who is supposed to be the staunch propagator of human rights? Right now, what is of great concern on the human rights is the issue on extrajudicial killings and disappearances. Extrajudicial killings happen when someone in an official position deliberately kills a person without any legal process. And we have seen a lot in the past 6 years. Many witnessed how uniformed men enter their houses, shot the target relative. Laging sinasabi na nanglaban tapos may baril kaya pinatay. This war on drugs is not properly carried on. It gives a great injustice to the poor, especially to the innocent. And aside from these unlawful killings are arbitrary or random arrests and detention and harassment. Indigenous peoples were also the target of attacks by the authorities and unknown assailants or aggressors. Inadequate access to healthcare worsened as COVID-19 infection rates rose as well.
I can say that it's generally protected. We have different enforcements here in the country that we can go to whenever our rights are violated.
Yes, of course. And so far as the basic rights are concerned, like food, shelter, clothing, these are the main rights that are protected. And so far as those rights are concerned, they are still protected. However, However, with the advent of the new Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, some rights and freedoms of expression are now prohibited, and arbitrary detention will be allowed, albeit it being against the law. So before you cannot detain a person more than 72 hours, but in this Anti-Terrorism Act, and any police or any government official can detain it more than 72 hours if there is a belief that this person violates a certain law. So yeah, that would be it.
There has been so many reports about human rights violations being done mostly by people in authority in the country. What is your say on this?
If such acts are done by these people or by anybody in this country, then they must be charged with proper violations.
Well, all I can say that you cannot put law into your own hands. Yes, they are criminals and violators of the law, but we have police and our justice system. For me, let them do their job. They should do more and strive hard to catch and punish their wrongdoings. To take one's life on the basis of his wrong action is wrong, more so in the eyes of God.
With the current situation of the Philippines, how can you protect your rights as a citizen or person of this country?
As a citizen of our country, I strongly disagree on how the government is implementing its war on drugs and the many injustices that it causes our people, especially to the poor and oppressed. The goal to stop drugs is good, but the means to attain the goal is immoral and evil. In the realm of education, I believe making our students and the people I minister to be well informed and educated on matters of spiritual concerns and social justice issues. In doing so, I strive to promote moral awareness to each one so that they will be enlightened and will be guided in their decisions and actions when faced on moral issues.
Become more knowledgeable not only in these issues but also with other issues that are present in the country.
Okay, so I can protect or execute my own rights by not violating other people's rights. So I should set a good example to others that in order to protect my rights, I should know how to respect others' rights. Furthermore, knowing my rights by being abreast with the laws can protect me and my rights so that if someone passed the line and violates my rights, I know how to act on it legally.
For me, I execute my right as a citizen in this country to speaking up myself, my opinions, and also listening and respecting others' opinion.
What is your message to the president or leaders of the country and to the youth of today regarding the issues of overpopulation and human rights violations?
So, my message would be simple. Stop corruption. Stop political dynasties. Stop the greed. Focus on helping the poor. Create a concrete solution on how to eradicate poverty in our country. Make education accessible to all. And please serve the public with utmost sincerity and loyalty. As for the human rights violations, the government should put stricter sanctions to violators and they should follow due process of law.
So to the higher ups, to the leaders, there are many things that you could do, but one thing we lack in the country here is discipline. We need more disciplined and more focused leaders, but we also need leaders that will inspire us to be disciplined and to be focused as well with ourselves. You know, a good leader inspires us to be good people, and they're supposed to be good people too. And for the youth as well, what I can say about human rights for the youth is that take it slow. You're still young. Do not try to do something you think it's good because it sounds good, because there are many things that you need to learn. And I'm not saying you're ignorant, but I'm saying that when you're young and you feel like you cannot die, when you feel young and you don't know what the consequences of the future is, you have to remember that you have to be mindful that the future, of course, will be affected by what you do right now.
And parting with a message to anyone and to everyone, when we serve, we make Jesus the center of our life. We use the teachings of Jesus as our moral compass in leading the people and in solving problems and conflicts. We uphold the dignity of life, and so we say no to any form of killings. May we think less of ourselves and more of others, so that we can be more productive and fruitful in our service. And as what St. Paul says, may the love of Jesus urge us to do things. Caritas Christi, Urget Nos, and thank you for listening. God bless us all.
As a Filipino, we should be a law-abiding citizen. So I hope in the future, corruption will stop. And so that Philippines will be progressive. As a Filipino, we should be a law-abiding citizen. So I hope in the future, corruption will stop.
Citizens like us, our opinions should be heard by the higher ups, and we should choose the right leaders in the future for them to help us. Citizens like us, Our opinions should be heard by the higher ups, and we should choose the right leaders in the future.
In regards with overpopulation in our country, I will support or I will agree if there is an implementation of 2 to 3 child policy like in other countries, because in that way it can help lessen or minimize the fast growing population of people in our country. Next is sex education. Schools or maybe some programs can implement it. It is not a way of humiliation or something, but instead it can help the youth and teenagers to be aware and to be enlightened of the consequences that might happen if they do such things. And especially nowadays, the teenagers tend to normalize teenage pregnancy, which is not good because it can greatly affect their future.
The ill effects of overpopulation are quite severe. There is more number of people than job opportunities. As a result, unemployment gives rise to crimes like theft and more. We also have pandemics and epidemics which happen due to overpopulation. There are many solutions which we may take up to prevent overpopulation. The best measure is family planning to keep the overpopulation check. In order to do that, one can ensure proper spacing between the births of the children. Further, limiting the number of children as per income and resources must also be important. Similarly, it is essential to increase resources. The government must make the horrors of the overpopulation reach the public through the use of media. Moreover, better education can help implement social change which can curb overpopulation. Next up, knowledge of sex education must be made mandatory in school so students learn young about everything they need to know.
There are many issues today that pose a threat to our way of life. Overpopulation. It is a serious problem that will eventually have an extremely negative effect on our countries and to our planet. The problem is that a rise due to the overpopulation could even prove to a fatal epidemic that will eventually wipe out the entire human race. Oftentimes, this issue is overlooked due to the lack of knowledge and understanding of the subject, or simply because most of us are so blessed that we are not affected firsthand by the problems it is causing this every second. Overpopulation, in my belief, is an enormously serious global issue that should be identified, analyzed, and controlled immediately.